Good afternoon, everyone. Here is a new slot, and I think this is what we are going to try and do because in the morning at 8:30 it's impossible. So we will do it always live as much as we can, and where we can't, then we will do it with a recording. Okay, but today we are definitely very much live. So today's learning is dedicated in memory. Let's just go and find the Yortzeit list. Firstly, of Leah Bas Bible, Sivi Bas Mordechai from Ben David Slavin, Shalom Ben Yisrael Morris, Eliezer Shalom Ben Avish Shmuel Beres, Separa Fegel Bas Reuven Baruch, Shana Ben Eli, Ben Bas Bible, from Shoshana Bas Yaakov Shmuel, Yirmiyahu Yechiel Ben Achav and Moshe Eliezer, Sarah Malka Bas Binyamin, as well as the Yortzeits for today. Yisrael Ben Avram Chart, Yitzchak Ben Aryeh Chester, Sarah Bas Avram Reed, Moshe Aaron Ben Yechezkel, Shmuel Katner, Moshe Ben David Rosen, Shmuel Ben Mordechai Shalman, and Chaya Rachel Bas Hirsch Spector. Wish each and every one of their respective families long life on the Yortzeit. So, today we want to speak about the four species. We want to speak about the Arba Minim, the Lulav, the Etrog, the Hadassim, and the Aravos. Okay? So, and we want to relay and compare and contrast the mitzvah of the four species, right, which we have here. Here's one we prepared earlier, with the mitzvah of the sukkah. Okay. Now, when it comes to the arba minim, okay, the four species, you have your etrog, which we always look for something for as close to perfection as possible. We're meant to beautify the mitzvah. Okay. And when it comes to each of these, be it the hadassim, the lulav, or the aravos, the myrtle, the willow, or the palm, they are also meant to be as close to perfection as they possibly can be. Now, having said that, we know that our lulav and our etrog are never perfect, but it's a work in motion. It's a work in progress, right? And if they are too far removed from perfection, then they are invalid. Okay. Now that is the lulav and the etrog. Okay. Remember what I just said. Now I want you to think about the other mitzvah of the day, and that is the mitzvah of sukkah. When it comes to the mitzvah of sukkah, friends, we know that your schach is something, the roofing of the sukkah, and your flimsy hut, which we sit in for the duration of the festival of Sukkot, it is something which is made of flimsy material. The schach, it can be any leaves or anything that's grown and cut off from a tree. We don't start examining any of the leaves to see whether they're in a good state or bad state. It's a complete irrelevance. So the question, which many have pondered, is why is it that the lulav and etrog, the four species, seem to embody the idea of perfection, whereas when it comes to the mitzvah of sukkah, when we're sitting under the sukkah, we see the exact opposite message. It seems to be that anything will do, as long as it grows originally from the ground, that will suffice when it comes to the mitzvah of sukkah. Don't we get conflicting messages? And the answer, of course, is quite the opposite. No, both are essential elements of what it means to be Jewish. Of course, when it comes to the lulav and etrog and the symbolism of the aspects and facets of a human being, we aspire and we all want to reach perfection, especially in the aftermath of Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. We grow, we're trying to improve day after day. We want every one of our deeds, our good deeds, to be as close to perfection as they possibly can be. We know that some of the four species, they have a smell, right? Others look good, but they don't have smell. Others don't look good, but they smell. And together they combine, right? And they are seen to symbolize the idea of perfection. And the idea is that we all should aim as close as we can to being perfect. But we know that realistically, right, be it as individuals or as a nation, we are very far from that mark. That is the goal. The sukkah, right, not only the schach, but the making of the sukkah, we rely on many leniencies. We are quite right. We don't have to have a perfectly constructed sukkah, even if it's just 2 and a bit sides. It doesn't have to be 4 sides, right? Even if it's got gaps here and there, even if it can have all types of imperfections, and yet it's still valid as a sukkah. What is the message, friends? The idea is that the sukkah represents that every Jew, no matter how far removed they are, we all are valued, and we all, our mitzvot observance is considered treasured in the eyes of the Almighty. And therefore you have this seeming contradiction between the mitzvah of the sukkah on the one hand and the lulav and the etrog. On the one hand, we are aiming for perfection. That is where we are trying to get to, right? That is the lulav and the etrog. On the other hand, we should recognize that we don't need to beat ourselves up throughout the year. Whatever happens, even if our deeds and our actions fall far from the mark, yet we are still valid. We are still precious in the eyes of the Almighty. The Jewish people have been trampled. They have found themselves kicked from pillar to post. And yet, nonetheless, no matter what we have gone through, we are still considered precious in the eyes of the Almighty. And when we look through the schach, we look through the flimsy roofing that we have, we look at that and we see the stars, and that represents the Jewish people. And the Jewish people, we know, are as bright as the stars, in that we shine light on the world at large. And therefore, I think that the two symbols of Sukkot, be it the lulav and etrog and the sukkah itself, are very much the embodiment of our attitude, our philosophy, our approach to the year ahead after Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. Of course, we aim to be like the lulav and etrog. We want to be perfect in our deeds, in our actions, in our thoughts, in the way that we behave, be it between us and our fellow human being and between us and God. Having said that, we should recognize that we are human. And despite the fact that we may sin, we should pick ourselves up, dust ourselves off, and look up at the stars. The Jewish people have always been able to overcome adversity and challenges and struggles and the vicissitudes of life, and been able to accomplish so much. And please God, we will continue to do so. A beautiful idea from combining the lulav and etrog with the sukkah. And now we will have a memorial prayer, which will then be followed, as we always do, with a refuah shalema prayer. But before that, we will recite Psalm 23. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He leads me in the path of righteousness for his name's sake. Even when I walk in the valley of darkness, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You set a table before me in the presence of my adversaries. You anointed my head with oil, my cup overflows. May only goodness and kindness pursue me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord for the length of days. Now we come to the memorial prayer. Adon Olamim Zacho Es Nishmois. Leah Bas Bible, Ziva Bas Mordechai, Abram ben David Slavin, Shalom ben Yisrael Morris, Eliezer ben Shmo Teret, Eliezer Shalom ben Abu Shmo Beretz, Perifekel Bas Ruven Baruch, Shalom ben Eli ben Bas Bible, for Yirmiyahu Yichia ben Achav ben Moshe Eliezer, from Moshe Shana Bas Yaakov Shmo, Sarah Malka Bas ben Yomin, as well as the Yortzais, Yisrael ben Avram Shahat, Yitzchak ben Ari Chester, Sarah ben Abra Bas Avram Reed, Moshe Aaron ben Yechezkel, Shmo Katna, Moshe ben David Rosen, Shmo Ben Mordechai Shalman, Chaya Rachel Bas Hesh Spectre, Shalchu Lilamam Bagan Aiden Taimanu Chasam Lachem Balarachamim, Yasirem Besaisa Kanapab Lalamim, Vietsobasachai Nishmasam Adonai Nachlasam, Yanuchu Amishkalav Mishkavam Vanamar. Amen. Wonderful to see everyone. Lastly, we'll do Refuah Shalema. As I said, this is the new home of our afternoon program at 12 o'clock. Please God, obviously, because we're doing it every day, and every day my days are different, we hope and pray we'll be able to do as many times as possible at 12 o'clock. If I can't, then watch out for the message. Either it will be pre-recorded or we'll do it slightly different time. But we are continuing with messages of Sukkot for the next couple of days. And then after Yom Tov, we will start with a new program completely to be followed after the festival of Simchat Torah. And now for the Refuah Shalema. Lovely to see you in the afternoon. Carol, Powell, Colin, Peter, Estelle, David, and everyone else. Lovely to see you this afternoon. Misha Verach Avaseinu Abraham Yisrael Yaakov Moshe Aaron David Shlomo Yivarach Rabbeinu Cholim בעבור שאנו מתפללים בעבורם מזרזי הקדוש ברוך הוא ימלא רחמים עליהם לחמול פרסם וישלח רפואה שלמה ונשמה לכל עברם בסוף שהכל יישאו רפואת הנפש והסגוב השבח זמן קריב ונאמר amen. And lovely to see Edwin as well, who's just sent us a message. Maldim l'simcha, as Edwin says to each and every one of us, enjoy the festival, enjoy the Chol Hamoed period. Look forward to seeing you. Please God, same time tomorrow. Take care, keep safe, keep well, all the very best.